is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today's video, we're going to give you our Thursday night football predictions, the Carolina Panthers at the Houston Texans. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick, week 3 of the NFL season is upon us, and this season just seems like it is zooming by. I mean, we are already at week 3, and I feel like I haven't even been able to catch my breath from opening kickoff, but here we are, and this week starts off with an interesting matchup. Not a great one, but definitely interesting. A lot of storylines heading into this one. The Carolina Panthers sitting at 2-0, heading to the 1-1 Houston Texans. Now, if I asked you, did you think that the Houston Texans would be 1-1 at this spot? What would your answer be?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of us did not expect the Houston Texans to play as well as they are playing, and they were pretty close to becoming 2-0, actually. So, when you take all of that into consideration, you say, wow, the Houston Texans can actually put up a pretty good fight. Not so fast. The guy that was leading that charge, Tyrod Taylor, he's no longer with the team as he has been placed on IR after fracturing his ribs. So they have to figure that out. On top of that, the Houston Texans, they're starting rookie quarterback Davis Mills in his stead, and they signed Jeff Driscoll to their practice squad, who will almost inevitably be brought up from the practice squad, activated on game day to be the backup quarterback. With that being said, they are facing a vaunted Carolina Panthers team that is no joke. When you take a look at their defense specifically, you're looking at incredible players like Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Daquan Jones, Hassan Reddick, Shaq Thompson, J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin, A.J. Boye. These guys are absolutely incredible. You have former All-Pros, Pro Bowl players, just one hell of a defense, and they are going to absolutely light a fire under themselves to really get after Davis Mills and make his day a living hell. On the offensive side of the ball, Sam Darnold and Christian McCaffrey, these guys have been lights out all season long so far. What they've been able to do is really get going into a rhythm and get this ball moving. So, with all of that background and everything that's going on, Nick, I want to send it over to you for a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, this game and kind of what you're expecting from each side?
Yeah, so fun fact, this is actually the third game in a row that the Carolina Panthers are facing a rookie quarterback. They faced Zach Wilson in week 1, then in week 2 they faced Trevor Lawrence, now they face rookie quarterback Davis Mills. They have had a very nice season so far facing these rookie quarterbacks. Easy time over Zach Wilson and the Jets. Easy time over Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Now you get Davis Mills making his first start. They've had a very nice time creating turnovers against these quarterbacks, making their lives difficult by creating various formations on defense that confuse the hell out of these quarterbacks, and they don't know what to do with them. When you look at the edge rush, you have Brian Burns and Morgan Fox on the edge with Daquan Jones and Derek Brown on the inside. This front four, not let alone the front seven, is absolutely stacked. And when you look at the offensive line of the Houston Texans, it's just a bunch of guys who are put together. And I mean, they fared fairly well so far, but that was with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, who's able to move around, run out of the pocket, flush out, and do what he needs to. Davis Mills, he has a little bit of speed, but he's not going to be flushing out. He's going to be stagnant in the offense. I expect him to be very flat-footed, not really understand how to dissect these defenses. He's not going to know how to call out the mic'd linebacker on the defense. He won't be able to pick up edge blitzes. He's going to have a tough time getting this offense under control. It's really going to be up to the center to really manage everything that's going on. It's going to be up to Justin Britt to figure out, okay, the pressure's coming from the left side, so we got to shift our protection to that left side. And, he's going to have to carry that load as the veteran guy on this offense. So I expect Davis Mills to really struggle in this one. And, it's just an unfortunate situations because the Carolina Panthers are a very good team right now. They've got the full package going on, especially with having Sam Darnold under center. Sam Darnold has been a great addition to this team. He has really brought a life to this offense. Christian McCaffrey coming back looks great as ever. I think that this offense, the defense, Matt Rhule has really done a great job of building this roster, and he's doing a great job of maintaining it. I think that this is going to be another sweet victory for the Carolina Panthers when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody with a brain is going to take the Houston Texans in this one, unless you're a Texans fan and just hoping for the best. But when you take a look at the Texans right now, they have a lot of players that are banged up and injured. And with a Thursday night game, it is obviously a short week where most of those players aren't going to be able to play. Danny Amendola expected to be out. Nico Collins placed on IR. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor, as we mentioned. Kamu Grugier-Hill has already been ruled out for this game. So both sides of the ball really taking hits with the injury bug. But nonetheless, the Texans have to go out and play their game and hopefully try to squeak out a victory. But I want to kind of shift the conversation because we're basically on the same page with how this game's going to go. My question to you is, obviously Tyrod Taylor has led this team to places we didn't expect them to be right now. With Davis Mills being named the starter, it kind of drudged up the question, what's the harm in choosing Deshaun Watson to start? He has not been suspended by the league. He's not been placed on the commissioner's exempt list like I thought he would be. In fact, there's been no movement from the league whatsoever. So I'm really curious as to the decision or lack of decision to allow Deshaun Watson to take part in this team. He remains on the active roster. He remains a game day inactive player, but at the end of the day, I don't see what the Houston Texans could lose by starting Deshaun Watson instead of Davis Mills.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that play into this decision. When you look at the way this roster is constructed, we just went over it. They don't have a lot of offensive weapons. So if Deshaun Watson goes out there and has a poor performance, then his value starts to drop a little bit. We all know Deshaun Watson as being an elite, possibly top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And if he has a bad game, maybe 2 bad games, because he doesn't have anybody to work with, then his value might drop a little bit. Right now, they're looking for a package of 5 picks and players for Deshaun Watson. In order to maintain that value, you need to leave a great impression on people's mind of what Deshaun Watson is worth. And if you have 2 losses attached to that, I think that hurts his value. I think that Deshaun Watson is not going to be able to get them a win with this roster. Tyrod Taylor would have had a very tough time as well. I just don't think that there is enough talent around these quarterbacks to really do enough to warrant a win, especially against this defense who was on the rise. So I think holding off Deshaun Watson, it makes sense. You want to make sure that Deshaun Watson has peak value when it comes to the trade market. You want to make sure that no one has anything bad to think about him on the football field. So you've got to maintain that, and that's by keeping him off of the football field on game day. It's an unfortunate situation and not something you want to be in, but this is really the Texans making their bed. They have said they're not going to play him, and they've stuck by that. They're not willing to risk anything when it comes to Deshaun Watson and what his value is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna kind of take a different approach here, though. You're talking about what ifs, and it, you're talking about what ifs in regards to how he could possibly play. But if Deshaun Watson really is the guy that we all think him to be, he's not going to have those bad games. He's not going to, really throw out a dud in this season. And when you take a look at what Tyrod Taylor's doing with this offense, Deshaun Watson could elevate it to a whole brand new level. And I can't understand why Deshaun Watson at his talent level is being just overlooked because of the impending issues that he's currently dealing with. At this point, if the league hasn't stepped in, the question is why not? And for me, I'm there. I think it's time to bring in Deshaun Watson because you've already shown that this roster can improve. It can be a winner. Now we just need to see what Deshaun Watson can do instead of Tyrod Taylor. And I don't think Deshaun Watson has that what if potential of playing a dud game. I believe that the what if comes from the injury concern. They don't want the injuries to mount up against him, or they don't want what happened to Dak Prescott last year to happen to Deshaun Watson, because obviously that would tank his trade value. But even with what happened to Dak Prescott, you talk about a quarterback who loses games, negating his trade value. I'll disagree with you on that sense, saying that Dak Prescott lost a lot of games last year before he got injured, but he was still throwing for over 500 yards and leading this offense to new heights. He was on pace for almost 6,000 yards last year. So I think Deshaun Watson, even if he loses games, and who could blame him with the roster around him? But if Deshaun Watson lost games but was still putting up 400, 500 yards a game with 100 yards rushing and really doing his thing, I don't understand. You're basically showcasing the guy that everybody would want to trade for. With those teams that could possibly want a quarterback, especially those who have injured quarterbacks, Miami, I think that they would want to see what their investment would look like, especially in a year where his mind is distracted.
Yeah, I think that's another big factor that plays into this. There's so much that could be at stake for the Houston Texans by playing Deshaun Watson, and you got to think of the PR outbreak from this entire thing. What are people going to think about Deshaun Watson starting the NFL while he has 24 lawsuits against him? It's not going to look good, and they're going to get a lot of flack for it. So they're just saving themselves from a lot of different situations, different scenarios that could come up if they decided to play Deshaun Watson. So you understand by looking at all of this why they want to hold him out, why they want to go with the rookie over the elite talent. And it may not be the greatest decision, but in football sense, as far as PR goes and as far as protecting your asset, this is the best option.
Yeah, I'll end it with this. I think that from PR standpoint, it can't get much worse than it already is. Playing the guy that has 24 pending civil cases against him versus letting him stew on the active roster and doing nothing, you're creating headlines either way, so you might as well get something out of it. But that's just my opinion. So I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you expect from this game, who you expect to win, and then let us know what you think about the Deshaun Watson situation in Houston. Should he play or should he not? All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.